Captain Forest here, and in today's power scaling video, I'm going to be power scaling Cyclops from Marvel 616. Now, if you guys are new to my channel, please leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for further content. Also, huge shout out to the HQ squad. They've been a massive help in my videos, so huge shout out to the team, much appreciated. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and move on to Cyclops. I'm going to talk about some of the things he brings to the table in terms of stats, and then afterwards I will move on and talk about some of his abilities and all that good jazz. So for the physical attack potency portion for Cyclops easily ranges around small city level to city level, plus ranges of attack potency, so easily Cyclops has physically damaged Wolverine. He's also taken hits from Wolverine as well. This very same Wolverine is shown to physically damage Deadpool. Deadpool himself took a blast from a satellite which was calced at city level, so I will leave the calcs on the screen so you guys can see them. So some pretty nice scaling for Cyclops in terms of like the physical department. Now, as for the potency behind Cyclops' Optic Blast, it does range. So from the low to mid frequencies, it can easily reach the city to mountain level regions of attack potency. His lower to mid frequencies can level mountains pretty casually, and he can also power up a city with just his energy from the Optic Blast, which is pretty impressive. Now, as for Cyclops' full powered Optic Blast, it is shown to have higher scaling and potency in comparison to his weaker beams. So as for low end feats for his full powered Optic Blast, it was stated to be able to rip a small planet in half. So we've got some planetary scaling at least for his Optic Blast, his full powered version. Now for his mid to higher end blasts of scaling, it was able to push back and burn Green Skull Hulk's skin. His full powered Optic Blast can also hurt Classic Hulk. This has also been hinted about his full powered Optic Blast being able to definitely hang out with the Herald tiers. It's even stated that it could, potentially even rival that of Thor, Hulk, some other characters too, but those are just statements. It all comes down to feats as well, so depends on your interpretation. But I have more things to go over and more feats to cover for the Optic Blast, the full powered at least. So there's some more showings for his full powered Optic Blast. It's been shown that he was able to press Jean Grey's PSI barriers, as she even notes that she was literally using all her strength to keep the barrier up to prevent the full powered Optic Blast from completely vaporizing her and Wolverine and other characters who she was trying to protect around her barrier. There was another occasion where an avatar of Dormammu got lit up by the full powered Optic Blast. So overall, his low to mid frequencies of Optic Blasts can reach at least the city to mountain, plus potentially even higher ranges of attack potency, and his full powered Optic Blast would range from the low ends of planetary ranges to Altiversal Plus, High Altiversal Plus, to even Boundless. Depending on arguments you use and based on what you find more consistent, it could be argued that the full powered Optic Blast at its absolute peak, full peak, can even be argued extraversal tiers, but obviously that is a very big stretch. Consistently, it's fine to say Altiversal. It's definitely, as the terms I like to use, mid creation level at least. It definitely has the capacity to hurt the heavy hitters when Cyclops is not suppressing the potency behind his Optic Blast. So that's going to round up Optic Blast and the potency and the AP portion. I'm going to go ahead and talk about speed. Now, as for speed, Cyclops is easily faster than light plus. He can react to Wolverine, who's able to react to Cyclops' Optic Blast. This feat was calced at 2 times the speed of light. Credits to Hellfire Productions for this calculation. Now, there's higher calcs you can use. You can also use the 9 times calc for the speed of light, which was like Spidey tiers, characters who can react to that degree of speed. So you can take it higher in the calculations of the FTL proportion. So regardless of how you slice the FTL scaling and how high you have him in the calcs of the quantification, regardless, Cyclops is FTL pretty comfortably. He's pretty fast. So that's going to round up the speed. I'm going to go ahead and move on and talk about a bit of Cyclops and how he works in character, his mutant powers, and all that great jazz. So Cyclops, he can control the potency of his Optic Blast. He can fire at a low frequency, a mild frequency, and a full powered one, which is more amplified and destructive, but it makes him a bit tired. Cyclops can also increase the range and the radius of his Optic Blast to create a wide spread to tag multiple enemies, and he can perform an area of effect with a full powered Optic Blast if need be. Cyclops can also use his Optic Blast as a shield to spread out his Optic Blast to cancel out 2 beams that were fired from Grotesque's gem. Cyclops' Optic Blast can disintegrate objects. It's even stated that he has the range advantage in most situations, as the Optic Blast can reach around 270 plus meters, which is pretty far. That's very impressive. His blasts can also blind you if you're too close to him. He can also BFR people and objects by blasting the ground, causing the force back from the beam to blast you away. Cyclops can also deflect objects with his Optic Blast, and it's also been stated by Beast that Cyclops is the master of the optic arts. And Jean notes that the X-Men have perfected their powers, which is very impressive for Cyclops in terms of skill. He's very skilled with his mutant ability. He's an absolute master at it. Cyclops has demonstrated a ton of remarkable accuracy feats and skill with his Optic Blast, such as ricocheting his opponent's blast to take out his foes. He can also split his beams to pressure and tag multiple opponents. Cyclops is able to skillfully disarm his opponents with his Optic Blast. He did it to Thor, causing Mjolnir to bounce out of his hand and clap Iron Man in the head. And he's able to literally tag an airborne foe by ricocheting his shot from another person. And even when Magneto reflected the blast from Cyclops, it still tags him. So Cyclops is just that many steps ahead of his opponents, which is very impressive. And Cyclops can also position his Optic Blast to hit things on a microscopic level, and he can also use his Optic Blast tactically to get his foes off guard by blasting Machine behind Grotesque, which blows up and tags him. Cyclops can also use his Optic Blast to launch himself away from harm's way, and he can also use his Optic Blast like telekinesis too. And constantly, Cyclops is improving his Optic Blast against moving targets per week by 4%. Cyclops can also propel himself from the ground. He's demonstrated really masterful control with his Optic Blast, and his pinpoint precision is so insane. He was able to precisely shoot through a small crack into the ruby armor, causing it to ricochet and hit the guy wearing it, despite the fact that the ruby armor completely nullifies his Optic Blast. And even while drunk, Cyclops' accuracy is still on par. It's still good. He's still able to tag a glass ball in the air. Cyclops will target vital areas with his Optic Blast, so he will target vulnerable areas. He also has info analysis in his own right, which I'll talk more about. Cyclops can also blast a hole in the ground, cause you to fall. He made Juggernaut fall into the ground as well. He's also shown incredible acrobatics along with impressive accuracy skills with Optic Blast. He also notes that his Optic Blast gets stronger over the years, so he can use his Optic Blast for longer. So let's move on to Cyclops' gear. Now, if Cyclops cannot physically activate his visor, Cyclops can activate a button on his glove, which opens up his visor, allowing him to shoot out his Optic Blast. He also carries some ruby quartz contact lenses in emergencies, and if his visor is stolen or compromised, he also carries a pair of ruby quartz glasses to help control and regulate his Optic Blast. Cyclops is very smart, very strategic, and very tactical in combat. Cyclops is always analyzing and observing his opponent's power and capabilities, while at the same time calculating and coming up with ways to defeat them in combat. Cyclops also has precognition. He's able to stay a step ahead of a dinosaur, and he can also operate on instincts too. Jean and Wolverine have noted that Cyclops remains calm and stoic and never panics in tough situations. So he's a very strong leader, has great leadership skills, and he's a very competent fighter. So overall, Cyclops is easily one of the most impressive leaders of the X-Men. He's no slouch. He has really decent stats. As mentioned before, physical attack potency, easily small city to city level. His Optic Blast from the low to mid frequencies, easily reaching city to mountain, maybe even higher than mountain. You could possibly even argue some, island level stuff. It depends on how much research you want to do for the mid ranges, but the higher end ranges, pretty much for the full powered Optic Blast, easily reaching creation level scaling. So easily the low ends are like planetary, or if you want to go the higher route, easily Altiversal plus, high Altiversal plus, or even boundless. You can even take it to those degrees. Just depends on how and where you scale some of the heavy hitters, if not extraversal. But again, that's really peak. That's high end stuff. It just comes down to interpretation. If you want to use the more safer the more reasonable scaling for the Optic Blast. There's no problems with that. Easily, it would, I say at the very least, like Ultraversal Plus or High Ultraversal Plus, or potentially Boundless, but those are the more reasonable ranges that I personally have it. But I wanted to give higher ranges in this video just to show you guys how far Cyclops can be taken with the full powered Optic Blast. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. But yeah, it's been real. Peace out.